What happens when protest is punished like a crime? Not with prison time, but with hundreds of millions in fines. Well, just last month, a jury in North Dakota delivered a devastating verdict. Greenpeace was found liable for over $660 million in damages to the pipeline giant Energy Transfer. This case dates back to the 2016 Dakota Access Pipeline protests, where Indigenous water protectors and environmental defenders stood against the pipeline threatening their land and water. Energy Transfer accused Greenpeace of defamation, disruption and inciting property damage. And now, nearly a decade later, a jury has agreed. Let's be clear, this isn't just about punishing Greenpeace. It's about sending a warning to every activist, every climate campaigner and every movement that dares to stand in the way of fossil fuel profits. Speak out and we'll bankrupt you. Here's how it went down. A company called Energy Transfer, the one behind the Dakota Access Pipeline, sued Greenpeace USA and Greenpeace International for $330 million, one of several lawsuits. These are known as SLAPs, strategic lawsuits against public participation. What does that mean? It means big oil has figured out how to use the courts not just to delay justice, but to destroy it. These aren't lawsuits, they're weapons. So way back in 2016, in Dakota, in a place called Standing Rock, Indigenous water protectors led one of the largest protests in modern history, fighting to stop the Dakota Access Pipeline from cutting through sacred lands and threatening drinking water. They built camps, they marched, they prayed, and they were met with militarised police, tear gas and rubber bullets. Many stood with them, including Greenpeace. But now, years later, the oil company behind the pipeline is trying to rewrite history, saying it wasn't Standing Rock sued, but Greenpeace who incited the movement. They're literally trying to sue the resistance out of existence. The company's CEO, Kelcy Warren, even admitted this lawsuit is about sending a message, not about money. He wants to bankrupt Greenpeace, sure, but more importantly, he wants to scare you. You can't do this, he said. It's unlawful and is not going to be tolerated in the United States. This is about silencing peaceful protest, shutting down free speech, and criminalising anyone who dares to speak out against the fossil fuel industry. And while they're suing climate defenders, fossil fuel companies have done $28 trillion in climate damage. That's not a guess. That's new scientific research. That's more than the entire US economy produces in a year. And the top 10 offenders? Exxon, Shell, BP, Chevron, Saudi Aramco. We're talking about decades of emissions, causing floods, fires, heat waves and droughts. And now scientists can trace that destruction directly back to these companies. Chevron alone raised the planet's temperature by 0.025 degrees. That's how precise the science has become. They've built entire economies off wrecking the climate. And instead of facing accountability, they're jailing the people trying to stop it. In the UK, peaceful climate protesters are thrown in jail. Roger Hallam, sentenced to 5 years for planning to disrupt traffic. Reduced to 4, still ridiculous. Phoebe Plummer and Anna Holland, 2 years and 20 months for throwing soup at the protective glass over a Van Gogh painting. No damage, no violence, just a message. Protesters are treated like criminals, while fossil fuel execs walk free. Even the Court of Appeals called these sentences manifestly excessive, but left them mostly intact. The Public Order Act has been weaponised. Labour has defended it. This isn't about law and order. It's about protecting those at the very top of society, at the expense of our civil rights and the future of the planet. Look, from the suffragettes to civil rights, to anti-apartheid, civil disobedience is how change happens, but today it's being crushed. The message from governments across Europe and the UK is clear. Protect profit, punish protest. Climate Rights International says these sentences would be more at home in an authoritarian state than a healthy democracy. And they're right. Meanwhile, climate disasters are intensifying. In England, flash floods. In California, wildfires. In the Philippines, typhoons. The cost is staggering. Lives lost, homes destroyed, communities erased. But who's being punished? Not the companies causing it. Not the CEOs funding disinformation. The people being punished are the ones trying to prevent the collapse. But here's where it gets interesting. Protests are rising. In Serbia, 300,000 people flooded the streets after corruption killed 16 people in a train station collapse. In Turkey, in Georgia, in Slovakia, people are fighting back. These are countries run by leaders blending democracy with autocracy, where elections can be rigged. But the street still matters. Government fear the street more than the ballot box, because protest still works. It reminds the powerful that they're not untouchable, and that they're vastly outnumbered. So here's the truth. The fossil fuel industry is desperate. Their grip on power is slipping. People see through the lies, through the lawsuits, through the jail time. And they're standing up anyway. We have the science, we have the truth. And we're stronger united. What we don't have is time. If we step back and look at the last 2 decades, a pattern emerges. Occupy Wall Street rose after the 2008 crash, exposing the greed of the financial elites. Black Lives Matter surged in 2020, demanding justice in the face of systemic racism. And the climate movement continues to fight for a livable future as fossil fuel giants burn through the planet for profit. 3 movements, 3 connected crises, one thread running through them. A global system where the super rich grow richer. Power clings to division, from racial injustice to anti-immigrant populism. And the earth is collateral damage. The truth is, those in power need us divided. They thrive when we're isolated, overwhelmed and unsure where to turn. But what if we turn to each other? What if we united behind a vision for a better future? One where justice, equality and a livable planet aren't radical dreams, but basic rights. It's not just possible, it's essential. And it starts with people refusing to stay silent. Dissent is not a crime, and solidarity is our power.